This video is an explanation of the distributive property as it relates to polynomials, and the model that we're going to use for multiplication and in the future for factoring is called the expansion box model. To describe the model, we'll start with something that's familiar. To multiply 25 by 3, what you usually do is multiply 3 times 5, getting 15, and then 3 times 20 to get 60, and then adding the results together to get 75. 25 is the same thing as 20 plus 5. 15 is 3 times 5, 60 is 3 times 20, and that's how you get to 75. Now, multiplying two numbers is the same as finding an area of a rectangle. So we're going to take the multiplication 25 times 3 and model it as a rectangle that is 20 plus 5 units across and 3 high. And we're going to do the multiplication by finding the area of each of the smaller rectangles and adding them together. Okay, so first we will do 3 times 20, that's 60. And next, 3 times 5, which is 15, and then add the two of them together. 60 plus 15 is 75, and that gives you the area of that rectangle. Now we're going to look at this for multiplication of polynomials. So we'll start with an easy example. You'll see the rectangular model above, and then below that is the multiplication problem that we're doing, 3 times 2x plus 4. In the expansion boxes, the first thing that we'll do is find the area of the first small rectangle, 3 times 2x, that would be 6x. The smaller rectangle is 4 times 3 is 12 square units, and if we add those two together, we get 6x plus 12. Another way of arranging this multiplication is vertically, as you see on the right side of your screen, where we can multiply 2x plus 4 times 3. And to do that, we would multiply 3 times 4, and then 3 times 2x to get 6x plus 12. Here's another example. The example is shown below the rectangular model, 4x times 7x squared plus 9x plus 5. I'll wait for a moment so that you can figure out what goes in each one of the boxes. The first box should be 7x squared times 4x, which is 28x cubed. The second box will be 9x times 4x, which is 36x squared. And the last box will be 5 times 4x, which is 20x. If we multiply those together, we get the result of 28x cubed plus 36x squared plus 20x. And if you were given this problem to do, you can use the rectangular model to figure out the answer, but when you write the answer, you need to write it as I did in the very last line, 28x cubed plus 36x squared plus 20x. If we were to do this vertically, we could arrange the multiplication as 7x squared plus 9x plus 5 times 4x, and then 4x times 5 is 20x, 4x times 9x is 36x squared, and 4x times 7x squared is 28x cubed. Now I'd like you to try these examples. Please stop the video, work out the solutions to all these examples, and when you're finished, restart the video and we'll show you the answers. Okay, here are the answers. Check them over, stop the video if you need to, and make sure you got them all right. Now we're going to look at using this model to do what's called factoring. Now remember that when you factor a number like 12, you are separating the number into 2 or more factors. When you factor a polynomial, you do the same thing. Now let's look at the polynomial that's represented here, 9x squared plus 12x plus 18, and think about what the greatest common factor of those three terms is. In this case, the greatest common factor is 3. And then we can fill in the top of the rectangular model. 3 times what equals 9x squared? That would be 3x squared. 3 times what equals 12x? That would be 4x. And 3 times 6 equals 18. So if you were asked to factor 9x squared plus 12x plus 18, your solution would be 3 times 3x squared plus 4x plus 6. Here's another example. We're looking first for the greatest common factor for each of those three terms, and be sure to consider both the numeric factor as well as the variable factor. The greatest common factor of the numbers is 7, and for the variables it would be x squared. So the greatest common factor is 7x squared. 7x squared times 4x squared is 28x to the fourth. 7x squared times 3x is 21x cubed. And 7x squared times 1 is 7x squared. So if you were asked to factor 28x to the fourth plus 21x to the third plus 7x squared, you would write 7x squared times 4x squared plus 3x plus 1. Now, I'd like you to try factoring each one of these. Remember to look for the greatest common factor in both numbers and variables, and then figure out what the second factor needs to be. Stop the video while you do all of these, and then restart the video to see the answers. Okay, now I'm ready to show you the answers. Here they are. Please be sure you've gotten them all correct, that you've gotten the greatest common factor factored out, and that the form of the answer is correct. And this ends part 1. The next video will be on multiplying polynomials.